Welcome, everyone, to a special edition of our Three News and Three Sports podcast series. I'm DeNatale alongside Jay Crawford. Big news on this Thursday afternoon. It appears, Jay, we're going to play baseball in 2020, or 2022, excuse me, as the MLB players have voted to accept the proposal from the owners. And it looks like here at some point in the next month or so, we'll be playing baseball for real.
Yeah, the 99-day lockout is over, and I'll leave it to the bean counters to pour over the details as to whether the owners or the players won in this most recent contract negotiation. I will tell you that the real winner is the fan, because we get our game back. Once again, we were watching billionaires and millionaires hold the American pastime hostage. It was a bad look for all fans, or for both sides. The fans don't really care how the sausage is made. They just want to enjoy it. And we're going to get to do that. It looks as though, from what we're hearing, none of this is ironclad right now, but from what we're hearing, April 7th might be a tentative starting date. Perhaps what we're hearing is the Indians might start on the road, even though the original schedule had us at home for the first 6 games. And we're hearing perhaps April 15th for the home opener for the Guardians. We don't know that for sure. It's going to come out probably in the hours to come. But the main thing is we're going to have spring training underway in a very short period of time. And the regular season will be a full 162 games. So that's a win for fans.
It sounds like that today, in going with the agreement, the players, the union representatives for each team, including the Guardians, went away from the union's executive committee and decided to ratify this almost on their own. The executive committee, it sounded like, and that's guys like Francisco Lindor, our old friend now for the Mets, and Max Scherzer, and that group wanted to not approve the deal. But when they took it to the players, the rest of the player representatives for the teams, it went 26-4 in favor of approving. So I find that very interesting in all of this.
Yeah, from what I understand, so you can look at the Mets, and they're probably going to pay the biggest luxury tax of any team this year. So if you're playing for the Mets, you're looking at the structure of this new deal and you're understanding that it's probably going to hinder future spending, because remember, there are well over 100 unsigned free agents in baseball right now. So we're entering into, beginning tonight, when deals can start to be made, we're entering into what will most likely be the most frenetic, most expensive period in the history of professional sports, because these teams are all under the gun. They need these players signed. It's going to be a mad dash to get them signed. And if you're the Mets and you're already way above what a luxury tax threshold would be, you don't want to add, if you're the owner, you don't want to add more payroll, because that tax is going to be more punitive to the teams that go over that number by the most amount. So you can understand why the big market owners were going to be against that part of it. But again, only about 12% of the teams, of the league's players, are playing in markets that this would really impact. So you've got, obviously, your 2 New York teams, your 2 Los Angeles teams, your 2 Chicago teams, throw in a Philly, throw in some of the other coastal teams that are spending exorbitant amounts of money. And you've got between 12 to 15% of the league has their players playing in those cities. The rest of the league is made up of the Kansas Cities, the Cincinnatis, the Milwaukees, the Clevelands. There are far more of them than there are of the big market, big spenders. So I'm just glad it got done. I don't even care about the nitty-gritty details. Yeah. It's billionaires arguing with millionaires. It's a terrible look, particularly when you look around at the world and what's going on. We've got a war in Ukraine that is taking the lives of innocent civilians. Here domestically, gas is at the highest price it's ever been. Yep. Your dollar, my dollar, and 350 million Americans' dollars are worth 8% less today than they were 1 year ago. due to inflation. And we're watching these guys argue over hundreds of millions of dollars of money. It's pointless. It's a bad look, and I'm glad it's over.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting, just to kind of put a bow on that point. It's going to be interesting as players talk and owners talk. You better say the right things out of all this, because you've got to buy back some love and some loyalty from your fan base.
Yeah. Now I will say they avoided the apocalyptic disaster would have been missing games.
Yes.
And so basically the fans don't even know when you boil it down to the brass tacks, this impacted the fans not at all. We're not going to miss any regular season games. There may be a week shortened spring training. I think everybody's fine with that, except for those that plan annual trips to Arizona or to Florida to enjoy the sunshine and to take in some baseball. Those fans are probably going to be a little upset. But your average baseball fan and even your average sports fan, no harm, no foul here. Let's get on with the business of the game. Here's why this is why I'm super excited. Last year, the Indians decided they were going to be bystanders.
Yep.
They stood on the sidelines. They watched everyone else spend. They tried to compete with what they had. Their pitching staff was decimated with injury. And I honestly believe with a healthy team last year, they could have competed for a playoff spot, despite the fact they were dead last in payroll. Now we get to see what the Guardians ownership is going to do. As of tonight, the business of baseball is back. That means that teams will be signing free agents. The Guardians had better open the checkbook, because this fan base will no longer tolerate us being 30th by a long shot. That's not acceptable. This fan base is too smart, too baseball savvy, and too hungry for a winner, quite frankly, to accept the garbage that we were thrown last year. That cannot be accepted this year. And the fact that Dolan went out and took on a minority partner who's hopefully going to open his checkbook and increase the team's spending, that to me is a positive sign. So my guess is the team is going to be very active over the next day or two, signing some of these close to 200 free agents. We need help. Everybody knows where we need help. We need more bats. And we've got to go out. We've got to sign smartly. You can't, the Guardians are never going to be in the market for a $30 million player or a $40 million player, nor should they be. But you've got to continue to find the bargains. Encarnacion is a guy that comes up. You know, we've done this a time or two over the last 4 or 5 years prior to last year, where we would sign that free agent that was a smart move. We were going to get the most bang for the buck, even if it was a 1 or 2 year deal. I'm expecting the Guardians to be extremely active. And if they're not, the fan base is going to be very, very upset.
Yeah, you'll hear about it in a show like this as well, folks. So
absolutely.
Just be ready. As we wrap up, they gotta address the outfield. I mean, when the Guardians, when they go to work now, and Chris Antonetti and Mike Chernoff and their staff can finally start making phone calls of substance here. I mean, they got to address the outfield. They've got to always have to address kind of the mid ends of the bullpen. They're at a position of strength with starting pitching. So if they want to go get somebody, they have arms to deal with, and they've done that before. And I'm not suggesting don't trade Shane Bieber. I mean, don't do that. Yeah. But, they have moves to be done with trades as well, in addition to going out and trying to sign players, right?
What's interesting here, Dino, is when the area of strength of your team is your pitching staff, we know that's what wins pennants. That's what wins championships. It's pitching. Now, you're not going to win it with an all-time great pitching staff if you can't hit. So you do need hitters. But I think this team is interestingly positioned because I don't think they need to deal talent. There's enough available free agents right now where they can fill in their blanks, both in the lineup and in the outfield. They can make some smart moves by writing checks in free agency where you don't have to put a young arm on the table as a trade chip. I've always approached my fandom this way. I want my team to be one of the strongest pitching staffs in the game.
Yes.
And I believe that the Indians have that. I have full faith that Antonetti will do the right thing. We do have depth there, and we do have some room to move some of these young arms. I would rather not, because that's the real commodity. In baseball, you win. It's an arms race. And we're positioned in the pitching staff, not the bullpen, but our starting pitching positions this franchise to be able to contend, provided they add some pieces around the Franmil Reyes and Jose Ramirez. You can't just have two threats in the lineup and expect to win, because it takes the opposing staff one time through the lineup to realize who you're going to pitch around. And if there's only two kryptonite bats in the lineup, everybody else is going to be pitched to, and the two hitters are not. So I think it's imperative that this team adds not two, but three bats, and not one outfielder, but two.
Yes.
And let's beef up where we're weak and hold on to where we're strong, because that is where you have to be strong to win.
The bonanza is going to start very quickly. MLB ready to get back to work. That means the Guardians will get back to work. Jay Crawford will be talking a lot more about it starting at 5 on what's new. Thank you, as always, my friend, for coming out here and doing the emergency show here. As again, MLB looks like the lockout is over, and we're going to be back.
Baseball's back, man. Because of that, I'll do any show about baseball being back.
You and me both, partner. Thanks so much, and we thank you all for watching this special edition of our 3 News Sports podcast. Well, Jay Crawford, I'm Dave DeNatale. Thanks for watching, everyone.
See you guys.